Friday. Welcome to the Dattitude Podcast. It is not Friday. It is Thursday. We're doing a special Thursday show. We want to celebrate the weekend. We want to get the session. We wanted to get it all out of our system before the Saints play this weekend. So who better to do that in episode number 200 here than Devin, Hold the Mayo, Snow. Dude, we are so happy to have you on the show. I've been wanting to have you on for a couple months now. You're growing like a weed in New Orleans. You know, like weeds everywhere. And they're loving you. They're loving you.
Yeah, you need a full 7 days to get all that system with the Saints. So it's not like, it used to be a couple days. No, it's a full 7 now,
Well, at least we had extra time since the Saints played on last Thursday, like you said. So they lost last Thursday, got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The season's on the brink. We're going to get to that in just a minute. But I want to talk a little bit about you and people, everybody I ask now, if they're from around here, they pretty much know who you are. They pretty much know who Hold the Mayo. How did you become this thing over the past couple of years?
I come from the car business. I really, I went to college, but the key word is I just went. You know what I'm saying?
Like a lot of us.
Yeah, I never, I didn't leave knowing what I was going to do. So I went straight into the car business. I worked at Lamarck Ford for 5 years. Sold a lot of cars. I was a manager. And then once I became a manager is when I really started thinking about my life. I was like, I don't want to be here doing the same. One thing that really I can't live with is just repetitive for like years, when you're doing the same thing over for years. And I just kind of saw myself, hey man, I'm gonna be sitting behind this desk, until I'm 50, 60 years old, selling the same car, the same I was just like,
this exact car, right?
Yeah, this is gross, bro. So really, it ate me up. And that manager pay wasn't what I was expecting it to be. You work your butt off for 4 years, trying to get to be a manager. And once I got there, I was very hurt by what the pay was. It didn't really seem like it was like a step up. It almost just seemed like you just had more responsibility. So that's when I really started moving my mind on, hey, what am I going to do next, man? What am I going to do next? And, I had enough people when I was selling cars that kept saying this, man, and it just always stood out to me. They're like, man, you need to be on TV. Just selling them a car. I wasn't, there was no camera on me or nothing. I was just selling them a car, and they kept saying, hey, man, you got to be on TV. So I never forgot that. And I just started, filming me on the phone in the backyard. That's how I started.
That's how it got started, you in the backyard.
Yeah, I was filming in the backyard, just trying to figure it out. And one thing led to another. I started a podcast within a couple months. This is 2019. So, I started a podcast in June of 2019. And, by the time COVID came around and what was that, early 2020, I had already quit my job a month before COVID. So I believed in what I was doing, even when I shouldn't have. I had no reason to believe because there wasn't that many people following me or anything. All it took for me was to see 100 people in my live show.
And then you were happy.
Oh, bro. And I was like, man, I'm leaving this job. I'm going to figure it out. Well, I quit the job in February of 2020 as a manager. I quit. And as you know, by March, COVID hit. And it was just perfect, bro. You couldn't have plotted it out any better because everybody was at the house. Which means I
gotta ask you about that. All the stuff you say, you joke about what your dad tells you, whatever, and all that stuff you used to say. Was your dad really telling you stuff like that? Did he really say stuff like that?
Oh yeah, my dad was strict, dude. My dad is definitely a lot loose. He's more loose now because I'm older and we able to be honest with each other and all that. But when I was growing up in my house, bro, that's why I do stuff like that because that stuff's imprinted in my mind from growing up. My dad was very strict. He's a Christian too, like a really big Christian. So everything kind of centered around God. And then also, I couldn't sleep out 2 nights in a row. Couldn't bring a girl in the room. There's 100 things I could tell you about how my dad was. Love him to death. Wouldn't change anything about it. But that's just how he was. Well, he also works in the car business though too.
Well, for those who don't know who Hold the Mayo is, go check out his show. We're gonna get into that later on. But on YouTube, look for Hold the Mayo. I'm telling you right now, if you don't know who this man is, It's something different. And it's not just, oh, it's something different, let's watch it. It's something different that's worth watching, and we don't have a lot of that these days. I mean, it is funny when you get the collars on after the game. I'm laughing my ass off, dude. I really am.
Yeah.
I'm laughing my ass off. I mean, you had one that like kind of blew up. I don't know who that dude is, that old dude that just kind of went off.
He ain't even old. That's the best part about it. He ain't even old.
Sounds old.
Younger than me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he just went off, and it kind of went viral a little bit, at least around these parts. And I don't know how many it had. It probably had like 100,000 views or whatever.
Oh no, he had 3 million on 3 million on Twitter.
Did it get up that high?
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like people, it is what it is. But like people follow me on certain platforms, so they don't really get to see. Like for instance, like Twitter, man, it was all over the world. It was like 3 million views. Boss picked it up.
Who are these idiots?
Yeah. Nobody knows where we from. You can't. And that's one thing about being from St. Bernard Parish, bro. Like even the people that live in Louisiana, bro, if they not like from around the New Orleans area, they don't understand it. They can be like, "This doesn't sound Cajun." Why? Well, because that's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't sound Cajun down here. But anyway,
I'm from the West Bank. So
yeah.
I always say West Bank and Chalmette is the same thing, basically.
Well, they had it. Yeah.
All that's stopping us is a ferry.
Yeah. They had a dude that did a YouTube video, and he kind of explained the accents down here, and he said it was like a New Yorker being on a Vicodin. It just it's slower, But
my wife always tells me, I like to say this at least once every 15 to 20 shows because it's true. My wife always tells me I got 3 voices. She says I got my radio voice, my West Bank voice, and my asshole voice. So there you go. I don't know which one I have right now, but that's what she says. So
I understand. I understand all 3 of them without, we're barely even knowing you. I understand all 3 because you don't want to hear us when like we get, like excited, because then you really hear it. Then you really hear it.
Like after Derek Carr throws another interception, where something like that. She has to leave the room. She can't even watch a game with me anymore. It's sad. All right, well, we're going to take comments and questions. If anybody wants to shout out Devin as we go along here, we got a couple. Saints are losing. Well, thanks for telling us that.
They're not winning. That's for damn sure.
They're definitely not winning. They're 7-8. You can see it right there in the top right of your screen in case you forgot or kind of been sleeping through the season. Lloyd wants to know how you're on with me. I mean, I don't know if Lloyd just giving me grief or he doesn't like me.
Yeah, well, that's part of life, man. Especially with the internet, man. They're gonna, I love the fact you can't have like if there's 100 people, not all 100 can like you. You got to at least have 90, like 7 that don't like you. Or you're not doing something right.
What happens if you live in a house with 3 other people and 2.5 don't like you?
Then you got to get out of that, dude. Because I can't sleep at night if I have like me, bro.
All right. Well, I mean, you got all the lessons in life. I figured I would just ask you that. Before we start on the Saints, I got to ask you how the red beans thing get started. Like what when you day one of Red Beans and Rice Monday, and for those who don't know, Devin goes out somewhere every Monday, and even went on Christmas Day to the Four Seasons. First of all, I don't know how you eat all that shit. And number 2 is, how did this come about? How did you say one day I'm going to eat red beans every Monday and I'm going to put it on my phone?
Just so what happened was around that mark where we kind of left off in 2020, around May, I was trying a bunch of stuff, dude. Always had my call-in show. I've had that since 2019. It just started getting big. But around May of 2020, that's when I was just trying a bunch of stuff and just constantly videoing, man. And I've always been like really big from the car business. I've always been big on distance. So in the car business, you could sell 20 cars, and then the end of the month would come and it'd be the first, and you'd have no cars out. So it wouldn't nothing you did in the past mattered. So I've always been big on consistency, and that's what kind of drove that whole RB and All Day thing. Is I kind of knew after the first 2 videos I did with Red Beans that if I did this 100 times in a row, for example, that it would hit. And I've always believed in that method, bro. Like if you do anything and you do it 100 times in a row, you probably become really good at it, and you'll probably get a little more traction than what you would do when it was number 1, number 2, you know what I'm saying? So I just made a commitment to myself that in my head, when something feels right, I can't go from it. Like I just had to keep doing it, man. And I knew, man, it literally took 100 Monday. It took 100 Mondays, literally, for it to even get the kind of traction that is like you could feel good about, you know?
Right.
So
well some people say I got to 200 shows and I still don't know what I'm doing yet. So
keep doing them.
We're trying.
You got to, bro.
We'll
because
see.
the thing about it is, man, I did 200 shows before I started this new show that I'm doing. I did 200 shows, bro, and it had some bright moments and stuff like that. But never the success that I wanted. Can't let that eat you up, bro. I mean, at least you have fun. That's the main takeaway.
That's right. Maybe I should do. Maybe I should eat. I don't know, fried chicken on Thursdays or something. I don't know.
Hey, bro.
Pizza on Friday.
I'll support it, man. Your cholesterol's gonna be high, but
it already is. So why worry about it? You know
yeah.
All right, let's get into Saints a little bit. Josh is asking. He says we have to draft up. Loomis doesn't sound eager to get one though. It's not who the Saints are, is it?
Well, that and I mean, Loomis is eating Panda Express right now from all the money, he gave to Derek Carr. He ain't even able to eat good, So of course, he ain't excited about it, bro. He gave him $100 million. I wouldn't be excited.
That comes out of his check?
I mean, come on, man. I'm not saying that, but I'm just like, dude, like that's his move, you know
what?
So
you on to something. I think if somebody sucks and you take it out of the GM's check, or at least like this is what it is fractionally out of your check. Now we know Mickey Loomis ain't making $100 million, but if you took it fractionally out of his check, I think you're on to something. If you screw up,
you should, because I'll tell you right now, he'd be a broke man because this is a broke down car. It's not.
Are you in people? The car?
No, people love to defend stuff like this where they could be like, oh, it's not this one guy's fault. Look, hey, it's not my fault that he plays quarterback. They get paid the highest amount in the NFL. They get the most attention. It's the most critical position. It's not my fault that that's how the quarterback position is. That is life. That is football. So when a guy is 7 and 8, and you're getting paid all that money, and you really only could think of maybe 2 games, the Patriots and the Colts, that were really like game you could say, hey, man, the Saints team did good.
They played all right.
They played all right. Yeah. But
they had you believe, and I saw you were like kind of believing maybe this is for real.
Because I'm all about a shot, man. You give us a shot to go in the playoffs, I'm all about it. But one thing that Derek Carr's the position that he's put this team in the whole season is to not have a shot, really. Even when we kind of had a chance to get ahead in the division or whatever the case was, this guy can't do it. And yes, it is on the quarterback. For so many reasons. I mean, you are the star of this team. You are the top paid guy. You are the guy that gets the train running, bro. So yeah, you can't sit there and say it's not Derek Carr's fault. So like these people saying, hey, you only blaming one person. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just blaming the guy that's paid the most. I'm talking about the guy. Yeah, I mean
that's fair. But do you ever? Let me ask you this, because sometimes like I on my podcast, like on Monday mornings when they're really bad, I will go off. Okay, on my show, and people, it's amazing when they lose. I get way more listeners than when they win, and I don't know if it's because they like the way I go off or whatever it is. I don't care, but sometimes I actually feel guilty because I'll say things like, and then I'll hit the button and I go off and I'm like, that was kind of harsh. Do you ever feel guilty for like, I might have went overboard there?
No, I don't.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, I don't, because I never get that personal, first of all. You know what I'm saying? To where, look, if people can't decipher what football talk and fan talk is compared to like, actually meaning something, actually, I don't actually hate Derek Carr.
Right,
I've never met him.
Probably a good dude.
Maybe, but it's just like, the fact of the matter is people have been talking about football the way that we talk about it long before Derek Carr was here. You know what I'm saying? When Terry Collins was drunk behind center, we were pissed off then. When the Tollivers were here and Danny Werfel, Aaron Brooks throwing the ball behind him and laughing, and you know.
You're doing this, and the ball goes behind.
Yeah, the problem is the internet now is just seeing how Saints fans react.
I agree with you. Tim's wants to know, do the Saints have a chance against Tampa Bay? And if they win out, will they win the division? Well, Tim, I will tell you this. I'm going to let Devin answer the part about against Tampa Bay. But the Saints, as of right now, according to the New York Times playoff predictor, the Saints have a 12% chance of making the playoffs. Do you think that's high or low, Devin?
I think it's high for the current state because I don't think they're gonna win. That was the worst game I went to this year. Was the game that we played Tampa. We could not score a touchdown. It was just all field goals, and they dominated us. And here's the thing, bro. Lamore's not there still. This Mike Thomas is still not. We are not in any better position than we were in the beginning of the year. I just don't see the Saints winning, and that's, dude, honestly. It's one of the first times I said that this year. Even though this has been such a mediocre team, I still go into every week because I'm such a fan thinking, hey, we got a shot. This week, I don't. I don't think we have a shot. It's in Tampa. They hot.
All right. Well,
Baker
you look at their numbers, though. You look at their numbers, and these are their rankings on the screen. This is what I don't understand. How can a team that – you look at the Saints rankings, look at their average, but the Saints aren't playing average. They're playing like crap. I mean, but the Bucs rankings are terrible. But yet they're winning the division. They are the worst team in the league in passing defense. They are the 30th, the third worst team in the league in rushing offense. How is this team winning? How did they win 8 games?
They're not turning the ball over, period. They're not turning the ball over. They're not doing – I mean, don't get me wrong. The Saints are good in the plus for turnover ratio. But Tampa, they are not giving the ball away, dude. You go look at any game, they're just not giving it away. So – go back to last week when the Saints played the Rams, back to Derek Carr. We had a chance to get a game within one score. And what does Derek Carr do? He throws it to 2 Rams defenders. I mean, it wasn't even a close pass. It was a straight up interception, garbage ball. He throws it to them. And it's like, that's what beats you. So when people say, hey, it's not Derek Carr's fault. Well, you're watching that because we had a chance to get it within one score. And what did we wind up losing by?
I lost by 8 points. I mean, that's pretty simple. I mean, I think even my Shaw math can figure that out, Nari. We got a question. Dustin saying, Peyton catching flack for benching Wilson, but continues to make bold moves. DA won't change a thing, has decided to go down with the ship. Can you take anything from that observation?
Hey, he's too complacent. He's just not the right head coach, man. I like Dennis Allen, man. Dennis Allen, he's part of a lot of history that maybe fans maybe don't even remember. I had Tracy Porter on my podcast, and Tracy Porter said Dennis Allen is the dude that called him when they drafted him. That's who he talked to on the phone. That's how long this goes back.
Right.
So I respect Dennis Allen. As a head coach, it's just unbearable. He's just not the guy that we need, especially in the current state that this franchise is in. You need somebody that's a little louder. That means, has more. I don't even know what to call it, but that won't accept this.
You mean it gets pissed off every now and then?
Yeah, dude.
He's got no emotion.
We got to this up. I saw some good things, brother. You got 2 more games. What do you mean?
I call him Paul Bunyan. You know why? Because all he wants to talk about is chopping wood.
Right.
Right. What? Let me ask you a question. If you were going to chop wood for the winter and have everything ready, wouldn't you do that in like September?
Right.
Wouldn't you chop wood in September? Why are we I mean, he was talking about chopping wood with like 4 or 5 games left. We don't chop wood in
that's
December.
Dennis Allen. That's what I've noticed of Dennis Allen this year. Keep saying we gotta go do this. Well, brother, there's 2 more weeks left now. So that doesn't work anymore to say that. And he keeps saying it, his worst attribute, to be honest with you, other than just like him being a head coach in general, his worst attribute is his speaking is absolutely unbearable. I mean, he says everything that pisses Saints fans off.
Everything. I agree with you. And I got to be honest. It's like, it's not, at a certain point, like I don't even know if I say this. I don't think I can listen to this stuff anymore. Yeah. I just don't. Robert, my friend Robert and Mark, two great guys with awesome shows. I appreciate that, Rob. I really
Thank
do.
you, Robert.
Ryan Keys is saying, need a lot of help, you think? Thinks we miss out this year. And here's a great point. Baker Mayfield, now it's not a $4 million contract. I actually think it's an $8 million contract, but still, an $8 million. I know this. He makes the same amount as Jameis Winston makes for sitting on the bench. They make exactly the same amount. Now, Baker Mayfield's got his team probably winning the division. Derek Carr's making $40 million a year, and he's going 7-8 against the easiest schedule maybe in the history of the NFL. What's up with that?
Dude, I mean, I think it just comes down to heart. I think it comes down to, wanting it. That's one thing I'll say about Derek Carr, too, is sometimes I feel like I'm being lied to. I feel like he's a con artist. I feel like, some of the things he says, he don't mean, or what we're going to go out there.
Keep it positive. Keep it positive. Bro.
Yeah. Telling us what's wrong with us. It's like, don't tell us you don't care about what the internet says, and then you're going to tell us that we're sad.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Derek Carr. He's contradictive. He's blatantly looking at what the internet says. It's very obvious, and it is getting to him to where he bring it up in press conference. Brother, we need more of a man than that. We're not going to stop talking. This is Saints fans. This is football fans. You're 7-8. What you want to do? Put you on an Hallmark card and hang it on our refrigerator? Because
They should force these guys, and I'm dead serious when I say this. They should force these guys to listen to half an hour of your post-game show, because that is the real fan. And I know I got people strolling stuff in my stream here, and I'm going to show as many of them as I can. But the real fan are the people like I call your show, and I told somebody the other day who didn't know you. I said it's like Buddy D on steroids. Imagine if Buddy D could have said anything he wanted. Like, instead of calling people squirrels, you could call them effing squirrels, whatever he wanted to say. It's kind of like that. But these people get on and they release their emotions. They feel like they can talk to you and say whatever they want. And I think that the Saints should have to listen to this at least a little bit every week. It matters.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about this Saints that I noticed. Going back to the interview I did with Tracy Porter, he really said something that really stuck with me, dude, is like, Saints fans, they like family. They're gonna have you back. They're gonna support you. But when things get bad, bro, they're gonna be on you, right? And true Saints legends, and there's still a few on his team. Jimmy Graham is a great example of how he handles Saints fans right now. It's actually perfect. But it makes sense because he's a real Saint. It goes back, right? These guys on the team now, y'all. Tyrann Mathieu, y'all need to go half off on the hating on Black Friday. Bro, listen, dude. You need to go half off on the winning. We need half more wins, These guys are so sensitive, bro. And the Super Bowl winning team, bro, and all these teams in the past that we've had, you never saw Drew Brees or any of those guys talking about the Saints that we not sad at all. Derek Carr said that. Oh, I'm not doing great, but I'm not as sad as y'all. He said that. And it's like, bro, dude, Saints legends, they go through the tough times and they prevail. Use a guy as a simple example like P.J. Williams. This guy was brutalized by Saints fans when he was here for the first few years. Everybody was talking about how P.J. Williams couldn't cover nobody, et cetera, et cetera. Flash forward 6 years later, he's still on the team, right. And the next thing you know, he's making plays. That's a memorable Saint. That's the guy who stuck it out. Andres Pete. Nobody's gotten more criticism than Andres Pete. Nobody.
He's been criticized very well this year, by the way.
Dude, that is a real Saint. You never heard Andres Pete come out and say, Saints fans, bro, they always sad. They always negative, whatever. That's how you become a legendary Saint, bro. It's not always going to be strawberries and cream, bro.
What do you think Jimmy Graham's thinking, when he goes home at night? What the hell am I doing?
If I'm Jimmy Graham, bro, I'm excited to this is like a vacation if I'm Jimmy Graham, because this wasn't supposed to happen, but we never should have got rid of him. But I guess you could say what you
Jimmy Graham's like going back to your old neighborhood from 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And the only person left is Miss Lucy,
Yeah.
and you go hang out and talk to Miss Lucy because you miss them times. Jimmy Graham's kind of like that. He's the only like thing we got from the old days,
It is. And it's just, I'm so happy for him, dude, even though they won't use him the way that we want him. I'm still happy that he's scored touchdowns this year. I mean, he's had more successful years with just a handful of touches than some of his last few years, So.
Well, Lloyd's giving me crap again. He's saying, don't fall for it. Big media. I'm big media. The only thing big about me is my actual physical size. I mean, trust me. Way more people know who Devin is than know who Jim Derry is, and I've been in this business for 31 years. Trust me. Ryan, what's going on? We thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Let's see what else we got here. Will saying sometimes people get promoted for doing a good job, but they're not good at the new job. I mean, and DA's probably the one I bash. Well, Pete Carmichael's the one I bash the most, but he's going to be gone. And after 2 more games, there'll be no more Pete Carmichael. That I'm sure of. I don't think Dennis Allen's going anywhere. I really don't. I know fans want him to, but that's just not how this organization operates. Unless they just get blown out the next 2 weeks, I don't think DA's going anywhere. But that's the biggest problem that I have with DA. It's not that he's the head coach, okay? If I would have thought they would have done their due diligence and gone through and, like, really interviewed people and, like, really went through 6, 8, 10 guys and said, you know what, after they actually interviewed 10 people, they came out of it on the other side and said, you know what, Dennis Allen is the best guy for this job. I wouldn't have that much of a problem with it. But here we sit 2 years later, they're trying to, like, just keep on with the Sean Payton thing, and they thought that DA was the bridge to that. Well, he wasn't. And they didn't even give anyone a chance. They didn't even listen to anybody else.
Yeah, I think that also, like, I'm sure we don't know this to actually say, hey, this legit happened. But you got to think that there had to be a lot of, like, motivation in that move from Sean Payton. I'm sure before Sean Payton left, he was like, hey, man, y'all should probably just roll with this dude, So I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. But, the facts are the facts, man. This is year 2 under Dennis Allen, no identity. You cannot go 2 years with no identity. Alvin Kamara, there's been games where he's had negative receiving yards. Negative. There's been so many games where he's had 20 rushing yards. This is a product of Pete Carmichael, Derek Carr, and Dennis Allen. Because Dennis Allen, dude, if you watch Alvin Kamara have negative receiving yards one game, dude, I have to call a meeting. I got to call a meeting, all the players, everything, and I have to emphasize that, hey, guys, this is a superstar, and this can never happen again. Ever. It never happened again. Look at what McCaffrey's doing in San Francisco. He's about to be the MVP.
Yeah.
Look at how bad off he was at the end of the Carolina ride. You know what I'm saying? He was hurt.
He always got hurt. It's amazing how guys don't get the guys that always get hurt. They don't get hurt when they're on a good team, and it ain't because it's that much easier to stay healthy or whatever. It's because if you got a little boo boo on your ankle, and you're playing on a crappy team, you might as well just sit out. If you're playing, if you got a boo boo on your ankle and you're playing on a team that's going to win the Super Bowl, I got a good chance to. All of a sudden, hey, it doesn't hurt as bad. I'm just going to play this week.
Yeah, and that's another thing, man. The injuries are far too welcoming. The games that Derek Carr put us in a hole, and Jameis had to come in. Right. And Derek Carr just goes out with this injury, and the next thing you know, he's at practice on Wednesday. That kind of makes me scratch my head, man. It's like, because I just trust the guy. I don't believe that he's telling me the truth.
I don't either, and that leads to this question. This is a really good question because I've asked this multiple times this year. Why are the Saints biased towards Jameis Winston? They don't give him a chance at all. They are so afraid to put Jameis Winston in a game. I'm not saying Jameis Winston's an answer. I'm saying we don't know whether he's an answer or not. He may not be. He may stink worse than Derek Carr. The point is, they are so afraid to put Jameis Winston into a game because Dennis Allen doesn't want to have to deal with a quarterback controversy because he's probably afraid he's not going to know how to handle it if Jameis has a good game. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, look at what happened last year. With the Raiders, they had to tell him to leave for the last couple. Oh man, I just think that the drawing was on the board. You know, we hopped all over this piece. We hopped all over it like we were in Terrence Osborne's gallery. You know, the picture
like
of Derek Carr.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I did it too.
Me too. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I did, but I hopped on it like, hey man, we got a guy that can for sure. It wasn't, hey, we got an MVP. It was, hey, we got a guy that can for sure get us to the playoffs. Like for sure, you know.
But if it doesn't work and you want to try, I mean, it goes to show. And we talk about Sean Payton. Sean Payton isn't afraid to say, you know what? Russell Wilson isn't going to be my quarterback. He's got this clause in his contract. We don't need to pay him $37 million or whatever it is. He's finding a way to get out of this. I mean, and I know we married to Derek Carr for another year, but the Saints don't even take a chance. Like if something's not working, try something else.
Right. And to be honest with you, man, like don't get me wrong, Jameis a wild dude, like on the field as far as like how he throws the football and stuff like that. Yeah. But I mean, you can't sit here and tell me that he hasn't. The few times he's gotten a game, like he's put points on the board, and that to me has been like one of the best props for the Saints is like they just can't consistently put touchdowns on the board.
I agree. I don't know if you noticed this on your show, but whenever the two words Jameis and Winston are put together on my show, all of a sudden I lose like 30% of my listeners.
Oh really? Nah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, people are just come on.
Stupid.
I had one guy this year, and literally, it was one guy. He blocked me because I posted a picture of Jameis Winston saying it's time, bro. Whatever.
I don't know what's wrong with people. I really don't. Your boy Joe says if the Saints win this week, it's because Vegas is getting the job done. The public is heavy on Tampa. Well, I can tell you that is true, Joe. But the sharps, the people with the money, they're betting on the Saints. They moved this line from -3 Tampa to -2.5. The Saints are just 2.5 point favorites, and actually it's really close to 2 now. I think it's going to be 2 by game time. So the people who know what they're doing are betting on the Saints. I know that's hard to believe.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
You don't see
I don't. No, I don't. I really don't, bro. I see turnovers. That's what I see. That's why I really think it's going to be a turnover game for Derek Carr. I mean, think about some of these players, man. They know that they can win a division. And I mean, think about some of these players, bro, like Devin White. Like Devin White is gonna eat Derek Carr up, dude. Like
but they can't stop the pass though. It goes to show you right there. 32nd against the pass.
Brother, we talking about a guy that had 37 passing yards like 2 weeks ago in the fourth quarter. I'm just not sold.
You got a point.
I'm not so like they always told us, hey, Derek Carr had one great game and had one bad game. I haven't even really seen maybe but 2 incidents of the great game.
Darren, I'm sorry. Darren is saying Sean Payton didn't say none of that. He knows it from 2 inside sources. The truth is
he's got a picture of Michael Jackson. How am I supposed to trust this guy?
I have no idea. But I'll go on through this, not because he didn't want to embarrass Dennis Allen, making him step down. I don't think Dennis Allen made Sean Payton step down. I think Sean Payton saw what was coming down the pipeline. And says, you know what? I don't want any part of this. I'm going to get out of here while I still can with my respect and tact.
You see it all the time in business decisions and, other businesses and stuff. When you see like the writing on the wall, you probably get out of it. Sean Payton's not a dumb guy. I mean, he aged that last year with the Saints.
A lot.
He don't even look the same.
I was telling that to my wife the other day. I had the Broncos game on. She looked at him. She goes, "Oh, he does look a little different." I mean,
in the cold weather, boy, he looked like a from the Grinch. What do you call him? The Who's?
Yeah,
that's what Sean Payton looked like in cold weather.
I mean, he looked like that cold miser dude. All he needed was the long nose. I mean, that's really what he kind of looked like. Josh is saying running the same playbook as Sean Payton doesn't work without Drew. 100%. Have to get a Shanahan type coach, someone innovative, and I really think again. I don't think they're going to make this move this year because people don't want to hear this either. The Saints are going to be terrible next year. They're always in salary cap hell, but next year is a different kind of salary cap hell. They're going to have to it's going to take an entire year to flush what they have, and they're going to have to start over. So it might be 3-4 years before this team is legitimately have a chance at the playoffs, I think. And so Dennis Allen, you might as well just stick with Dennis Allen and have a real excuse if they only win like 3-4 games next year to get rid of him and start over but I understand Drew Brees isn't here. They do need someone young. They need energy in this building, Devin.
Yeah. I mean, look at what the Texans did. That's the blueprint.
100%.
Look at, I mean, Demeco Ryans, he was a great Texan. He was a great linebacker, always leading the team in tackles. You know, all this stuff kind of translated over to coaching too. It always led the team in tackles. Go figure, is like giving the energy as a coach. You know what I'm saying? For a team, you know, that's why I say, man, people like think it's like dreaming and like a miracle to happen. But if I was whoever runs the shots, I guess Gail Benson, Mickey Loomis, whatever one you want to pick, I'd be on the phone with Drew Brees every day of my life. Every day of my life, I'd be depositing money that we didn't even agree to into his bank account just to talk to him on the phone about potentially work for the Saints. He ain't even got to be a coach. He could be the janitor for all I care. The team would be better because we don't have a guy like that.
You think Drew Brees would be a janitor for like $15 million a year? You think he'd like actually pick up other people's shit and stuff like that?
For $15 million a year? Shoot.
I mean you Drew, would, but I'm asking Drew. You think Drew would?
I think so. Drew does a lot of business ventures in general, you know. So I'm sure $15 million, you could get him to pick up, you know, some turds for $15 million.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. Before we let you go, I wanna talk a little bit more about what you do and let everybody know where you are, where they can find you, because again, I'm serious. If you have not seen this man's show, and he's got merch, by the way, and I love my brother-in-law. I was talking to you off the air before we went on. My brother-in-law, give him a shout out, Kyle Goday.
Yeah, shout out Goday, bro. And Goday has all my merch, bro, because I make sure I send it to him. But
he was wearing a shirt at Thanksgiving. He was wearing a shirt that said, "Look at this MFer." And where it comes from is your Red Beans show, and that's basically when you start your show, you're always showing everybody what the red beans look like. And I was so impressed that I don't know how you figured out the Four Seasons had Christmas red beans. I know it was an appetizer, it probably looked like, but they were like cutting the fried. They literally were cutting the fry. They fried a damn chicken, and then they cut it in front of you. I thought this was the most awesome thing I ever saw.
And I also learned a few things that night. You know, if you got a lot of money, you could take the grease out of your chicken. That's crazy, huh?
You can degrease a chicken. How the hell do you do that?
Bro, I ain't never heard. I was tasting that chicken. I was like, hold on, bro. I was like, something ain't, you know, that feeling of eating fried chicken right here, because there's no grease, you know?
How do you do that? Did they have like some kind of,
it's a secret, man. It's like Scientology, brother. You know, it's just
Scientology. How'd you find out that the first of all, what made you go to the Four Seasons on Christmas? I know you had to keep your show going. You wasn't going to break the streak. It's going to be hard. It might be hard to find somewhere in New Year's too, by the way. How'd you find the Four Seasons?
This dates back to a couple of years ago. I was, I was looking on the internet one morning to find somewhere to go, and I saw this picture of this menu at Miss River. And it showed $30 for red beans, and I'll never forget this because I immediately $32. It's not that way no more. It's not that way no more because of what happened 2 years ago. So I immediately saved that picture, posted it straight to Twitter, and I said, "You spoken, you know." And the picture blew up. People were like, "Man, who's charging $32 for red beans?" Next thing you know, they take the price off the menu. And now it's just like you said, I think it's
market
just like a side.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, I don't even know if you can see the price, but that's how. So I always was like, man, I'm gonna go there for a special occasion. So I kind of held it in my pocket, and I had never dressed up, or I don't dress up, to be honest with you.
You did for that show.
Yeah, I did for that, and I don't know. I just thought it was perfect for the occasion.
I know you like to go. You like to go in everybody's bathroom. Did they have like a bidet in there?
Yeah, well, what they had in that bathroom was you could shut. It was a stall. You could shut it, and you could wash your hands and all that stuff in the stall. That's when when the sink's in the stall. Yeah, that's.
You wash your hand in the stall. I mean, look, that's pretty impressive.
You got your own mirror in the stall. I mean, come on, dude.
By the way, Jeff, I do appreciate. I did say the Rams would win 30-21. I was off by a point. son of a bitch went for 2 and screwed up my score, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So do you? I mean, I know you probably don't want to say it because it's a secret, but do you know where you're going for New Year's Day yet?
Oh no, I never like that was an exception just because I knew Christmas, so I kind of knew a couple
Okay.
days in advance. But man, to be honest with you, and I tell people this all the time, I do not only do I not look at this stuff until Monday, I don't even think about it.
Really?
Because because that's the way I'm able to be sane about this. That's the way I'm able to live my life, watch sports, bet on sports, whatever the case may be, do things I love. Dude, I love red beans just like everybody else, right? We've eaten them our entire lives on
Yeah.
Mondays. But it don't go past that. I'm not at 7 days a week looking for red beans. You know, I've never been that way. So I just wait until Monday morning. I go on OTB at 9:15. Yeah, and it's just whatever authentically just happens, you know, and that's how I do it, bro. You know, if I got to go out of town or something like that, you know, that requires like a little more thinking. But it's more so like, hey, what's the craziest or what's the weirdest city I could go to? You know, I went to Shreveport, and you know, it blow your mind how different that place is. So
that's not Louisiana.
Yeah, it's just the surroundings. You know, I like
really
being in places.
Yeah, but they ought to cut off Louisiana like maybe like 20 miles outside of Baton Rouge and like cut it all the way to the state line of Texas. Like have it, you know, it would look something like Kentucky or something like that. I know.
I got guys like Jacob Hester who would literally be, I mean, they'd be livid right now hearing that. They would die because they, you know, he's from Shreveport and played for LSU.
Yeah, but he's a rare example.
Yeah, no doubt. I guess what I'm saying is, man, is, you know, I like just spur of the moment because that's where I feel like I get the best content is just spur of the moment, man.
Well, Lloyd wants you to go to Lafayette. So you ever thought about going out to Lafayette to eat red beans?
I have. The problem is one of my best friends I grew up with is already in that market, which is Gerald Gruning. Yeah, and I'm just not trying to step on nobody's toes. You know, eventually it will happen, but I don't know, man. To be honest with you, bro, like I started the RBNR Day in May of 2020. Yeah. You know, the food market on the internet has become so oversaturated since then.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people doing it. And it makes me, I don't want to say it makes me look bad, but it kind of makes my product look watered down in a way because there's so many people doing the food thing, bro. And it's like, that's why I'm big on the entertainment aspect, the comedy, and the soundings and the culture. Like red beans is red beans. I'm going to find good food. That's we in Louisiana, but I'm big on that entertainment.
Well, I got to have to ask you though. I mean, you always like look at this MFO like it's not always awesome though. I mean,
no,
like, it's sometimes you're like, you got to be like, look at this MFO.
Well, the main thing for me, that's why I don't rate stuff. You know, a lot of people with the food stuff love to use a number. They love to rank.
That's true.
You've never seen that from me because my content is your observation. I don't care if it's good, bad, or in the middle. Take what you want from my video and go about your life. Like, that's it. If you feel like, hey, man, that look good, man, then go pull up. But
but sometimes it's not always good.
You know, I've had
look at it and see.
Exactly. Just look. That's it.
I mean,
just look.
All right. And lastly, I kind of like ask this, but how do you eat all that, dude? I mean, like I know you got somebody there with you and filming and y'all kind of splitting it, but still, I mean, y'all get these appetizers and the crab claws and I mean, all kinds of stuff. I mean, how do y'all eat all this?
Man, just to tell you from the standpoint of,
are you like falling over when you walk out of there?
Just from the standpoint of the person that's there, me, I don't even think we eat that much. But I guess in case it is portrayed like that, like if people do think that, just know that the other 6 days of the week, you know, I'm pretty healthy, dude. I don't.
I believe you.
Yeah, I'm not eating fried chicken every day and all this other stuff. Monday is my vacation day, and then I go do it. You know. But like this last episode, sitting at the table, the crab claws, et cetera, man, if I go out to eat, that's what happens.
Well, I mean,
I feel like anybody.
That's what we do.
Yeah, I feel like anybody goes out to eat and like you're gonna hit the apps. You know, you can hit the entree, and it is what it is. You know, but I don't know, man. Especially right now, I'm 31. I watch what I eat, dude, for sure. I definitely do.
I wish I did when I was 31 because I'm paying for it now. I just
Oh
say,
yeah.
I just say that, dude. When you get old, dude, it sucks. I mean, it really does. I mean, there's lots of things you can't eat anymore. That's what another reason why I enjoy watching this. You can eat all kinds of stuff that I can't eat no more, but I enjoy it. All right, final prediction. You said you think the Bucks are going to win on Sunday. You think this is the dream crusher game. Give me a final score.
I think it's going to be like 28-17 Bucks. Sad.
Really?
I said it. I got to do this.
They're going to give up 4 touchdowns?
Yeah, I think they will, brother. I mean, they did it last time.
If they win, is your show after the game going to be positive, or you think it's going to be like, people are going to be pissed off because, like, why couldn't they do this before?
Oh, if they win?
Yeah.
The way that the Saints been winning, with the exception of that Giants game and whatnot, usually they ugly win. So I don't foresee anything change, man. I've had wins where dudes were so pissed off you would have thought they lost.
I know. Those are the most fun to watch.
Yeah, really I think it was the Giants game, or what was the one right before that?
Carolina.
The Panthers.
Yeah, there was nobody in the dome. That was awful.
Bro, they were calling in after that game, bro. You would have thought we lost.
It was that was horrible. I mean, and they kept showing the decibel level, and I'm like, it was like Bob Uecker with his hand outside the window trying to find somebody. I could find somebody, like yelling somewhere. Dude, you're embarrassing yourself. Stop showing that. I mean, I was getting mad. Stop showing.
Yeah, you could put the decibel meter in the storage shed, brother, because that's you ain't gonna need that for a minute.
No, I can take my kids and they could go to sleep in the terrace. I mean, stop showing that. I mean, All right, Lewis has got a prediction. He says best sport football.
I mean, Lewis knows. Look at Lewis with look. You see Lewis with the old school jersey on. You can tell, man. He's time with the Saints in the past.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching them since I actually remember a game in Tulane Stadium. That's how old I am.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, so I'm old. All right, I was little. I was a little kid, but I remember it. It was cold as hell, and we lost to the 49ers. All right. Here's my prediction that I give every week. Look, I'm gonna tell it the way that I think that it is. That's what I do. And I think the Saints are going to win this game. You know why? Because this division's supposed to be stupid. It's been stupid all year long. I mean, it keeps perpetuating, it seems like, into infinity. Every time you think a team's going to win, some other team comes out of nowhere. And I think the Falcons and Saints are both going to win. This division is supposed to be 8-8, 8-8, 8-8 heading into the final week of the season. I do think the Bucs will win the division because I don't think they're going to lose to Carolina. But I think the Saints are going to have one more week of hope. What did the Saints do last year after they lost to Tampa, and it looked like they weren't mathematically eliminated, but it looked like the whole season was done, and then they went on the only 3-game winning streak in this dude's coaching career. And I think, obviously, they can't win 3 in a row now, but I think they are going to win this week, and I think they're going to beat Atlanta in the last week, and it's going to piss a lot of people off. That's what I think.
Yeah, and who knows, man? I hate this situation so much because we've been through it so much. Like, it's like things need to fall into place and the Saints need to win. But hey, man, I love nothing more than when this week and Carolina beat Tampa Bay, which is it just sounds like a crackhead thing to say. I'm sorry.
It really does.
It's just, I watched a lot of Carolina. Yeah. I love nothing more for that to happen. And trust me, man, I'd be the first one in the dome for the, if we could win the division, I'd be the first one in the dome for the home playoff game. But this team is giving you so many examples of why they're not going to do it, dude. They're not gonna. They refuse to. They refuse to, in my opinion.
Maybe if they do and you go in a dome, maybe we'll get another picture like that.
Man, we'll hit you, bro. I have to hang that up. Not at my house, but somebody else's house. I don't know. So, yeah.
Devin, dude, I really appreciate you spending time with me here on Dattitude Podcast. It's a special show for us. It is episode number 200. We started this back in September of 2021. We had on Stan Verrett was our first guest from.
Love Stan.
Stan's a good dude.
We follow each other on Twitter. He's a great guy.
He really is. And so we've had some cool people on this show. Jim Mora's been on my show. Ricky Jackson's been on the show. Mickey Loomis has been on the show. Dale Brown's been on the show. So we've had some good guests, dude. You're right up there, man, and we appreciate it.
Thank
You're
you.
hilarious. Keep on doing what you do. Tell everybody real quick where they can find you.
You just put it in the search bar on any app. Hold the Mayo, and I should, not that should, I will pop up. And that's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even TikTok, which I can't stand that app, but
you ain't
I'm on that.
But you got to. All right, look for Hold the Mayo and find him. And I tell you, call into his show and be like, if you're a regular yat, you want to call into his show. Devin, thanks a lot. We're going to talk to you soon. Hope to have you on again.
Jim, thank you, my brother. Happy 200 to you, and I appreciate this, man.
Thanks a lot. Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to everybody out there listening in Dattitude Land. By the way, as always, when I'm done with the show, I will go add my monologue and put it wherever you find your podcast. You can find me. We appreciate it. We'll see you. Happy New Year, everybody.